Nova. Marisha Wallace, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here.
Well, I know having seen the show, it is so physically demanding and vocally demanding. So the idea that you are gracing us with your presence when you could be just
Wow.
like lying in your bed watching television makes it all the more exciting. So, um, I just wanted, before we kind of land in this incredible production that is really groundbreaking in every way, and you and Billy Porter and the entire cast, I have to say, this ensemble
Hmm.
is just um glorious. Like just such beautiful unicorns, every one of them. You are American.
Yes.
You have taken over London and England in a way that very few American actresses have done. And I wonder if you can tell us a little bit about your journey from where you grew up to how you ended up on the West End and singing for His Majesty the King. Uh, can you just share your story with us?
Well, I grew up in Goldsboro, North Carolina, on a hog farm, and my parents and my grandparents, they were really big into church. My dad actually built the church that I grew up going to when I was a kid. My grandma was the pastor, my mom was a choir director, my brother played the drums, my sister played instruments and sang. Like we all, my dad could play instruments and sing, so we all grew up singing and playing instruments, and we all had these like incredible musical gifts, but to us it was just kind of like this is normal because everybody had extraordinary musical talent, but no one really knew how to take that talent from the farm to the world.
Right.
And like there was other people in our family who had like quartet groups, like gospel quartet groups, and tried to kind of get out. I remember I had a cousin in Texas who was like on a Lifetime movie, and that was the first time I ever was like, what, this is something we could do. And I remember the whole family was like had her headshot on the wall, and then I would look at that headshot and I was like, oh, I think I want to do that. I want to be that. Like, how do I make that happen? um, but I didn't think it was possible. So I went, so in school, I studied band and choir, and I was in show choir, which was like glee at the time. And my teacher, who was, running that, she like pulled me aside one day and was like, I don't think you're like the other kids. Like, I think you should do this professionally. And I was like, professionally, like, what does that even mean? Like, what does that mean? Because, like, at that time, only thing people that I knew that were actually doing music as a business was like for a living were like pop stars or like Britney Spears or like the people who felt like completely untouchable. Like, I didn't know about like just working actors or work people who aren't globally famous, but who have amazing careers in music and television. I didn't know about that. So my teacher helped me get into school. She took her time, her own money, and helped me fill out the application forms, took me to the auditions. Um, and then she took me to my first Broadway show. And we saw Aida, and she pointed at the lead, Heather Headley, and said, that's you. That's what you're supposed to be doing. And I was like, well, and my eyes were just like wide open. And then that in that moment I made it my mission to make that happen the best way that I could. And then I tried out for all the American Idols and I won the North Carolina Idol, and I had a song on the radio, and I was like, okay, pop, maybe I'll be a pop star. Maybe this is, and that didn't kind of work out. It didn't feel real, but theater was a much easier track because I could audition for something, and then if you get it, you get paid, you do the job. There was no kind of like weird in between that music. Now that I've been in music, I don't know how artists survive in the music world and like eat. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's actually crazy. So my teacher took me to my auditions. I went and auditioned actually, and they said you aren't getting into this music school. And I was like, what? I was like, why? And they were like, something's wrong with your voice. We can't admit you to the school. And at this time, Everyone's been telling me my voice is amazing. I was like, what are you talking about? My voice is amazing. And I thought it was just because I had like over sang rehearsing for the audition.
Auditions, right?
Yeah. And then as I was leaving, I was about to cry. It was like out of a movie. I was like going up the big auditorium back out the steps out the back way. And one of the professors ran behind me and was like, wait a minute. I feel like you have something special. Let me give you a voice lesson. And I was like, okay, for free. I was like, okay. So my teacher's like, okay, we have to come back. So my teacher brought me. Now, mind you, this is like an hour away from our house. So she brought me back and we had the voice lesson. And he was like, yeah, you're missing like a lot of notes that you should have in your range. I'm going to recommend that you go to a um, ear, nose, and throat doctor. So I went to the ENT, got scoped, and I found out I had a cyst on my vocal cords. And they were like, if you don't get the cyst removed, you may never sing again. You may, and then if even if you do get it removed, there's no possibility that I mean, there's no guarantee that you will ever sing again. But my mom was like so supportive. She didn't even really know what was going on. Like my mom grew up on a farm. My mom worked in factories. Like she didn't even really know um, what all this meant, but she just knew that I had a gift and that she needed to help me. So we like used her insurance because it's so expensive to get a surgery. Like, and we had to pay the copay and we had to figure out how to get money to do that. And um, I went and got the surgery done. But I remember before I went to the surgery, because I was a choir director at the church at the time, the whole choir, like 150, like the whole congregation, 150 people, put their hands on me and prayed that I would get my voice back. And I was standing there in the middle of the circle and they just prayed that I would get my voice back. And then when we went to do the surgery, the doctor scoped me before the surgery, because he has to make sure everything is, the way it's supposed to be. I went to the surgery, I came back out. My mom was crying and I was like, oh no, something bad must have happened. And she said, the doctor said he went in to remove the cyst from your vocal cord and it was gone. Yeah. He said it looked like someone had already taken it out. So he just removed the scar tissue. And then I just had to heal. So then it took me 3 months. I couldn't speak for 3 months. Like I had a whiteboard. This is like pre iPad, pre
You're writing
phones.
it all
I
down.
was right. I had a whiteboard around my neck that I would have to erase and write. And every time I would go back, because I would do 2 weeks of vocal rest, and I would go back, and she was like, 2 more weeks, 2 more weeks, 2 more weeks, and then 2 more weeks turned like 3 months, and I would be crying. It was the hardest thing I've ever gone through. I'm 17 years old. Like this is supposed to be the beginning of my career, and it felt like the end. And it was like but I'm so happy that it did happen to me that young because then that's when I started learning what it means to work hard and what it means to have to fight for something. And that everything is not, I knew then nothing was going to come easy to me, that I was going to have to fight for everything.
And what you have to give up, right? Like what you have
And
to
what you
give
have to
up.
give up, what you have to sacrifice.
Yeah.
Because I wanted my voice back so bad. I was like, I'm gonna have to be quiet. I quit my job. I was a waitress and I was making good money as a waitress, but I couldn't speak. So I was like, I just have to quit my job. And I was at home and I was just like so depressed. But I was like, if I get through this part, then I know what's on the other side is going to be amazing. And because I couldn't do the music program because I had to heal, I had a counselor who was like, well, what about musical theater? Because if you can't audition for the musical theater program until you're a sophomore. So it'll give you a year to kind of like figure out what you want to do and get your voice together and then come back. So then I have to audition for the musical theater program. And they only pick 15 people, which I didn't know. And I was like, 15 people out of 500 people auditioning for this program. It's like super competitive. And I auditioned and I got in. And that's like the rest is history. And all because of this surgery that I had to go through, I would have never even gone in musical theater. I was going to be like opera singer, music teacher,
Right.
that path. But this path came along because I had to get the surgery.
Right.
So then that started my, training. I started working with an opera singer at the school. A lot of this was all free because of the school, which was incredible. Like it was a part of it. I don't even know if they have programs like this now. I was on a teaching fellow scholarship that paid for all my schooling, and my voice teacher used me as her doctorate thesis about how to rehabilitate a voice from nothing to being back to belting and singing. So she taught me everything I know, like rehabilitated my voice. And then, yeah, I did well in school. I got a teaching degree and a performance degree. And then I started auditioning right away. And the first job I got was at a theme park in Hershey Park in Pennsylvania. And it was 6 shows. That was 5 shows a day, 6 days a week. Can you imagine from going to not speaking at all to your first gig is 30 shows a week?
No, I cannot. I cannot.
I was like, yo, well,
Right.
the training worked. I mean, the surgery was, I think it was good. I had got it then. But yeah, and I just started working right away. I did cruise ships, I did regional theaters, I did tours, I did anywhere anybody would pay me to sing, I was there. Like I paid my dues for sure. Like
Yeah.
I worked everywhere I could. And then I finally went to an open call for Book of Mormon. And this at this time, Book of Mormon had only just been on Broadway for like 6 months. And they were already going to put out a first national tour. And I went to the open call, and that's where I met Casey Nicola, and he saw me, and he was like, we just connected. He just saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself at the time, and he was like, I want you. And there's been like so many people in my life along, started with Miss Grantham, and then it was Casey, and then it was other people who just, I always say God doesn't go, he sends people.
Mm.
And he always sends someone my way to help me get to the next stages of where I want to go. And then so when I met him and then we did Book of Mormon, he was like, I want to put you in every show that I'm in. And I was like,
You're like, okay,
okay. But then kind of not believing him either, because I'm like, oh, of course.
of
Yeah,
course,
people say, you know,
showbiz people. Yeah.
showbiz people, whatever. And then we were at a bar in Boston on one of the stops for Book of Mormon, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to be in Aladdin on Broadway?" And I was like, "Is that a trick question?" And I was like, "Of course! Like, I want to make my Broadway debut." And he's like, "There's not a track for you, but I'm gonna make a track for you." He's like, "I'm gonna make a part for you, and I just want you to be in it because I just want you around. I want you there." And I went to the bathroom in the bar, and I called my mom, and I said, "I think I just got offered a Broadway show in a bar." And then
He's
I went
like,
on
be
to,
careful.
yeah. And then she was like, so then I went to New York. I met the whole Disney team, and then I got the job, and that was my first Broadway show. And we worked together on that. And then his next Broadway show, Something Rotten, was happening, and then I did all the workshops for that. And then I left Aladdin and went to my second Broadway show. And then while I was in Something Rotten, I got asked to be Amber Riley's alternate in Dreamgirls in London. And
Oh,
so I auditioned for Henry Krieger, who wrote Dreamgirls, and
yeah.
the London MD and Casey privately at his apartment. It was crazy. And I was like, yes, I'm going to get this. This is now my life is going to change and everything's going to be amazing. And then they tell me, you're not going. We're going to hire two people from London.
I see. Change of plans.
And I was devastated. And when I tell you I was, because this has been my dream role my entire life to play Effie White in Dreamgirls. It was my dream role. I have been singing it, I'm telling you, my whole life. Anytime I had sang it at any talent show or competition or pageants, I would always win the show. So to actually do the show was like my dream. So then, because I was so upset, I was like, you know what? I need to do this part for me. I was like, I need to find a place to do this role just for myself.
Right.
And I looked on the Actors Equity website, and there was a production that was like happening in Dallas, Texas. And I'm at this time, I'm in Something Rotten on Broadway. I'm in a Broadway show. So I look at the rundown, and the director of that production was my choreographer from an all black version of Oklahoma I had did years ago regionally when I was working regionally. So I was like, ooh, I might be able to book this because I know him and I think I want to do this. So at 10 a.m. before a two-show day of Something Rotten, I go sing all the music for Dreamgirls. And the director goes, Joel, he said, you're not going to do this. Why are you going to leave your Broadway show? And I was like, I am, and I will because I have to. And I don't know why, but I just have to.
Right,
Like the Cosmos were saying, this is a part of your story. You have to do this.
right. Doesn't matter where.
It doesn't matter where, you have to do it. So I go to the producer of Something Rotten because you know when you get replaced in a show, it costs them money. It costs
Oh,
them like 30
yeah,
grand to replace
yeah,
you
yeah.
in a show. So lots of times they're going to say no. And he had just said no to someone 3 days ago. And I went to him and I was like, can I please get out of Something Rotten for 3 months to go play Effie in Dallas? And he says, of course.
What?
He was like, I can't stop you from being a star. He's like, you're a star. You have to go do this.
Did you talk to Casey, who obviously had been such a fairy godfather in that way?
Yeah. I didn't even actually speak to him about doing this version, doing this one.
Yeah,
I just went to Kevin and was like, this is what will you let me do? And he said yes. And I'm sure they had to ask Casey, and Casey would have said yes.
yeah.
But I went and I did it, and I got these amazing reviews. And it was like the making of me, like, just it made me realize you can't wait for anyone to make you a star. You have to do it yourself. You have to advocate for yourself. You have to say, I'm an artist. These are the things I need to be the artist that I want to be. And sometimes you just, well, what I did learn was don't chase the awards, chase the work. And like, just go chase the work as much as you can. And then everything else will fall into place. So then I did that for 3 months. I took a pay cut, by the way. Like, it was half of what I was making on Broadway. And
Right.
I wasn't in a place to do that at all. I was like in a terrible marriage at the time. I was paying for everything. Um, we were living paycheck to paycheck, even on Broadway, which was crazy. Um, but I did it because I was like, I have to do this. And so then I came back to Something Rotten, and I was only there for like maybe 3 weeks. And then I get a call, and they say, do you want to play Effie White in the West End?
For
And I was
what?
like,
What?
what? The show
What?
was already open.
Yeah.
It was just, well, it was in previews, and
Okay.
everything was going crazy. Amber Riley got pneumonia. Everyone else in the cast was sick. The understudies were from um, The Voice and X Factor. So they hadn't really ever done a theater
The
show.
show a week. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they had sung, and I'm telling you, for 5 minutes on a show, but they've never
Hmm.
carried a 3 hour show
Right.
singing a full opera for basically 3 hours. So they weren't ready. So, and the show, so they called me and were like, can you get to London tonight? Tonight.
You're like, I don't know. Can you? Like,
I was like, tonight.
let me put my wings on. Yeah.
This was a Thursday, I think. And then I had a concert that weekend. It was my first solo like Christmas show. And I was like, I have to do this Christmas show. Can I come on the weekend? I'll come on Sunday.
Hmm.
And they were like, okay, we can figure it out till Sunday. And then the shows started getting canceled. So they had like 2 shows canceled. And this was 2016. This is when you never canceled a show. Like, if you canceled a show in that time, it was like death. Like, you
Yeah. No, 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 no.
you didn't cancel a show.
Post-COVID, just for listeners, it's it's changed a bit. I think that's
Yeah.
what you're referring to, but back then it's like you could have appendicitis and you get through the show and you'll
Yeah,
get it out and be back for the show that night.
exactly. You would go in a wheelchair. Like, there was no like, oh, we're canceling a show.
The show must go
Never.
on.
The
Yeah.
show, it was very different then.
Mhm.
So when I saw 2 shows were canceled, I was like, oh, this is serious. And so I packed all my stuff and I don't know how I knew I wasn't coming back. I even packed my stuff in New York as if I wasn't coming back. I just knew I wasn't coming back because I had been praying for this. I was in this show in Something Rotten, but I knew there was something better for me. I wanted to get out of this marriage. I was not happy. And I was like, God, if you can just get me out. I remember I prayed on my knees. I was like, if you can just get me out of this, I'm going to run for my life. I'm going to make the life that I know you want me to have
Yeah.
that is better than this. Do you know what I mean? And how can you be on Broadway and think, oh, I want a better life than this?
Right.
It's crazy to me because my personal life is so in the trash. So I left and I went to the show. I had 5 days of rehearsal. They gave me the costumes of one of the girls, refitted to my whole body. In the first day I arrived on opening night. So she was well enough to do opening night. I watched the show. I had 5 days of rehearsal, and then I was on. And then I was on for a long time. And then they told me, "Oh, you're only gonna be here for 3 weeks." And then they were like, "You can't leave." So 3 weeks turned into 6 months, and then 6 months turned into a year, and then I took over the role. That was a really hard time. It was amazing and crazy at the same time. I was going through divorce during the show. And this show is so hard. It's the King Lear of musical
Right.
theater for me.
Right.
Um, and then also being an alternate or an understudy for a star is so crazy because when she's out, they're all expecting her to be there. And then you come out and you have to like win them over. And I remember when I did my first show, they say, Effie. And I came out and everyone was like, ugh.
And it's
And I
audible and you can
You
hear
can
it.
feel it, you can hear it. It's
Right.
crazy. And then I sung it, I'm telling you, and everyone was on their feet. The whole audience was on their
You're
feet.
like, you're welcome.
You're welcome. And that's when I knew I had like caught fire and I knew I was in the right place. And I was looking for something else. And I was like, whoa, God, I didn't know it was going to be London. Will you tell me that? Like, that was
Right.
so not in my plan. So then I stayed and I did 2 years in that show. And I was going to come back. And my friend Trevor was playing the genie in Aladdin over there. And we had did Aladdin for like 2 weeks on
Yeah.
Broadway,
Yeah.
on Broadway together. And I had did it in the original cast. Anyway,
Right.
so he was like, I'm staying. um, do you want help? Like, he's like, why don't you just stay? I was like, sure. I was like, why don't I just get a visa and see what happens? I had did the Aladdin film there as well. And I remember when I was doing Aladdin film, I only could work a certain amount of hours because I was on someone else's visa. But if I got this other visa on my own, I could work anywhere, anytime, whatever I wanted to do.
Okay. So you figured that out.
Yeah. So then I got the tier one visa. And I was going through the divorce, and I also simultaneously had got scammed by a guy I was dating. So I had lost all this money in a scam that was a nightmare. So I was like, I can't leave. And I got Waitress, the original cast of West End Waitress. I was playing Becky, and I was like, I have to take this because I can't go back right now. I need to save money, and also just see what happens. And it was the most incredible show to be a part of. I did it with Kat McPhee in the first cast, and then I
Oh,
did it with Ashley Roberts and the Pussycat Dolls, and then
wow.
Lucy Jones, and then finally in my final cast was Sarah Bareilles and Gavin Creel, who I had done Book of Mormon with.
I was
My
going to
first
ask if
show.
Gavin was on the tour. I mean, Gray Henson, there's so many actors
And
who are
Gray, yeah.
just really angel people.
So
Um,
Gavin came, and then yeah, it was amazing.
mm, wow, that's incredible. Just that you got on top, like the cherry on top, was that. And also you're learning a new country. Did you
Yeah.
I mean, when you describe where you're from, a hog farm, uh, and now you're living in London, I assume.
Mhm.
How soon did you start to feel, I mean, you'd been to New York already, a huge departure
Yeah.
from how you
Mhm.
grew up. How quickly did you like have to stop worrying about which way you're looking when you cross the street? Like all the things that happen when you're there, where you're like, I almost died 100 times today.
Oh my
Own
God.
food and like just all the things that are different. Like, how long till you felt at home?
It took a while. I think it was until after the pandemic. Like, so I was there from 2016 to about 2020.
Working,
2020,
working, working. It
working,
sounds like you
working,
went from
working.
job to
Yeah, I
job.
was working. And then in 2020, I had the option to go home or stay. And in that time, that was when I kind of made the decision that I was like, I'm going to make this my home. And it took about 4 years to feel like I'm not transient. Like, this is where I'm going to be. And you're right, like the slang, the bins and the rubbish and the thing and the
Yeah.
and like all the things that are different, a flat versus an apartment, the thing,
What the washing machine looks
the
like
washing
everything.
machine that's a dryer, but it doesn't really dry, so I gotta hang out my clothes.
I'm like, oh, they don't believe in dryers. Okay.
No, and no air conditioning and no like not many choices. You know how you have so many choices in America where you're like, I can have my sandwich with this sauce and that thing and this you get what you get. There's no like changing nothing.
Yeah.
But what I did love about it was that I felt like I could become who I was. Like I felt like I didn't even know what food I liked. Like I didn't know um what things I like to go do. Like I just felt like I didn't know myself until I went there and I truly discovered who I was. I think when you do grow up and live in the same place that you were born or where even the same country, you come with all the constraints of that and the expectations of what your parents want you to be or what your school told you to be or whatever. When I went to London, I felt like I could just start over. Like I could be exactly who I wanted to be. And I loved that discovery. And then doing it on a global platform. Like I traveled so much. I went to all these countries in Europe and I went to Japan and I went to Asia because you can travel so much easier from London to everywhere. And I just immersed myself in different cultures and I learned about how other artists live and like how other people live. And it was just so good because like Americans, we feel like America's the best and only place. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of how we feel. I think it's just kind of the marketing of America is that it is the best place in the entire world.
Yeah.
And I think it has amazing people and I think it's great, but there's other amazing places and there's other amazing places for artists to work and thrive, which I didn't even know. Like I didn't know I could have a career like I'm having in London as an American.
Some people will watch this because there's it'll be on YouTube, but most people will be listening to it. So I just have to let people know who are only listening that every time Marisha, who speaks gently and expressively, shows her nails, they're green. And Sally Bowles paints her nails green because she likes it. And
Yes.
it's funny as you talk about sort of rediscovering yourself and being away from all that is familiar and getting to know yourself because of that and running away from things
Hmm.
that were not good and running into things that were also not good in the relationship
Hmm.
category. Lessons we have to learn over and over again, no matter what country we're in. God bless.
Exactly.
I'm thinking so much about how your story and Sally Bowles' story has some sort of like mystic, magical intersection. Um,
Mhm.
Not literally, but there are just ways in which what she's looking for sounds a lot like what you were looking for.
Oh my God, I have chills because it's like we're so cosmically linked.
You are linked.
Like when I was excavating this character,
Hmm.
I started really looking into what does it mean to be a Black Sally Bowles? What does that mean? And what did it mean to other artists who were trying to escape oppression to be the stars that they wanted to be. And there was many, like Josephine Baker, who left St. Louis. She was in the ensemble of Shuffle Along, the first all Black show on Broadway in the 20s, and went to France and became one of the biggest worldwide stars in the world. And a lot of people didn't even know she was from America. They just thought
Right,
she was French. She
right.
took on a whole French persona, learned French, like literally stripped her Americanism, Black American,
Mm,
persona to become something that she wanted to be and
right.
something that helped her survive and something that made her palatable to the world because they at that time it was really hard for Black women to be in this space and take up space and to have success. But when she did the French change, they were like, "Oh, she's not Black, she's French. Oh, she's exotic. She's something else. Oh, she's not what we see Black people to be. She's different." So she could weave herself in and out of these white spaces in France and Berlin, like in Berlin and London, and she transcended her own race by creating this character that people loved and forgot that she was just a Black girl from St. Louis. And I was like, whoa, what if that's Sally Bowles? And then in that time, well, if you're an artist, you look up to whoever is doing the best, like at that time. Like I'm looking up to Beyonce right now. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
Beyonce was looking at Whitney, and
right.
Whitney was looking at, you know what I mean? So we're all looking at each other to see how can I learn
What's
from what they're doing.
possible? Yeah,
So I was like, my Sally would have heard the stories about Josephine Baker and probably is listening to Josephine Baker.
wow.
And we all know the stories of Josephine Baker. So I think my Sally has put on this accent. She's put on this performance. She's seen these British women on television. She's seen, I mean, it's more like RP as well, like um, Marlena Dietrich and like that. And that was in the script that she wanted to be a movie star,
Yeah,
Sally Bowles.
yeah,
So she puts on this decadent like character, even though she's a stripper in this dirty, seedy club. And it was so interesting to me because I felt like people always played her like she was actually from Mayfair. I was like, she's not from Mayfair because if she was, why is she stripping and being a prostitute in this dirty club? Like she
yeah.
would need to do that if she was
That's
rich.
right. Right. Her family would help her out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why would she be here? So obviously, it's an act, it's delusion, but it's also survival.
Mhm.
And I feel closely linked to that in the fact that I went to London to create a new persona for myself. And even returning, it's like, you're not Marisha from North Carolina. You're that Black girl who went to London. You're British. There's something else exotic about you, which makes you more palatable. Even though I'm still the same person, still the same talent that I was.
Right.
I haven't put on a British accent, even though I do have a British lilt. Totally. There's some
Yeah.
lives in there. But even that excites people. It's so interesting that you can't be just Black. You have to have some kind of thing about you. Even look at the Brits who come to America, like
Mhm.
Cynthia Erivo. She gets a lot of love. She's super talented, but the mystique of her being British helps. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Of course. Yeah.
It helps.
Yeah.
So I played with that with Sally Bowles because not only is she trying to be a star, she's trying to eat. Like she's trying to like have a
Yeah.
place to stay. That charm that she puts on with this accent, people love it. People love the toast of Mayfair. But then who's under there? And that's what you get to see as the show starts to unravel
Yeah.
and the layers come back and you're like, who are we hiding? What is underneath there? What if we actually saw the real person. And I feel that about myself, like, because, that strong Black woman trope that everybody loves to
Mm,
swing around, or the strong woman, period, no matter what color you are.
right.
Um, what are we like when we're inside of our rooms? What are we like when we don't have to be strong, where we're weak, where we're crying, where we're just trying to figure it out? What does that look like? And that's kind of what I wanted to show in this part. The
Yeah.
rage of women. I don't think we ever get to see women's rage. It's
Yeah.
always quieted, or it's always subdued, or it's always like, I'm gonna shed a few tears. But what if we just actually see women enraged? And like that was something I loved exploring, because we're women in musical theater don't always get to be 4D. Like it's usually, oh, I'm in love with this man. I'm trying to fall in love with this man, and I don't know. Da, da, da. Okay, they're a part of it, but there's so many more layers to it,
Yeah.
of the psychosis of a woman trying to survive and trying to protect herself. And you see that parallel linear line between her and Fräulein Schneider,
Yeah.
who's also a spinster, quote unquote spinster, who's running this hotel, this boarding house by herself. And she says in this gorgeous monologue, all my life I have survived for myself. Like I've learned to live for myself, and it's too old a habit to change.
Right.
And I was like, there's so many women like this who are just surviving on their own without the help of a man, without the help of anyone.
Yeah.
Like we're just surviving. So that's what's been, and I was in London by myself, like with no help from my family, no help from a man, from anyone. I was by myself. Like, so this show resonates on so many levels. And that's why when people see it, they're like, oh my God, it feels so real. Like it feels real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And historically accurate and really modern at the same time. Like it's very of today.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, having done it with Billy Porter in London, obviously, as I read in your bio, it was so successful and people were
Mm-hmm.
so crazy about it. It was sort of a no-brainer for the producers if you guys were willing to come over.
Mm-hmm.
That that would be an
Yeah.
amazing thing. Does it feel, I know people always ask, like, does it feel different performing in London and here? But like this piece is so particularly layered in all the ways that you're talking about. There's,
Mm-hmm.
when you do a revival, there's people have certain expectations or
Mm-hmm.
think they know it. And
Mm-hmm.
the thrill of like, you may think you know cabaret, and you do. And there's touchstones all along the way. The songs, they are still the
Mm-hmm.
songs, but everything else around it is such a reinvention.
Mm-hmm.
It's so exciting. It's thrilling.
Yeah.
How does it, I mean, now knowing more of your story, and by the way, thank you for being so incredibly generous with your story.
Oh, of course.
It's so compelling and beautiful and inspirational and aspirate. It's like all the
Mm-hmm.
things. And you're so humble at the center of all of it, which is just what a beautiful quality, but you don't even need to be. If like, why be humble? Like you're fucking amazing.
Thank you.
One of a kind. What has it been very loaded for you to be back here? Has it been like, what a way to come back? Like, how does that
It's
feel?
all of it. Well, it feels, one, validating, because like I knew I had this in me, but I didn't know how I was going to convince everyone else to
Yeah.
believe it. And if I didn't go to London, and if they didn't, I'll cry. Like if they didn't see me for who I was, I wouldn't be here.
Mhm.
Like the producers of this show are from London, and it was a no-brainer for them that I would be above the title, that I would be the lead. Like it was not even a question. And it makes you like question everything, because it's like, wait, I was always worthy. I was always worthy.
Mhm.
And it's like if I had known that 10 years ago, how many crying nights could I have saved myself if I had known 10 years ago that I was always worthy, do you know?
Right.
But that's the journey that we have to take ourselves on to know you've always been worthy. You've always been right for it. It's just sometimes you have to wait for your time, and God's delay is not denial.
Right.
And sometimes you just have to do the work and then just wait for everybody to catch up. And that's
Yeah.
kind of like what's happened. But
Yeah.
I've come back in my full power, in my full glory, because that was always my fear, to go back, to come back here and not feel like how I do in London, and
Mhm.
not be in the same level that I am in London and respect it the way that I am there. And I came back here and I've been showered with love. I have been showered with praise. I have been
Oh,
thanked by so many people in the community who have been like, thank you for being a beacon of hope and inspiration for us. Thank you for showing them that you don't have to be the biggest Hollywood celebrity to be great at this. Like, you don't have to, like, you can actually do it the hard way and still make it. You know what I mean? And then also there's a sense of, with what's going on in the world, because we started this in December, and the political landscape has changed
drastically.
drastically
Yeah.
and since that time.
Yeah.
So even how the show hit in January is not how it hits now. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So that's been wild because America is in such a upheaval
And you feel it.
currently.
You
You
feel it in
feel
the
it,
performance of it. Yeah.
you hear it. When we're in that room together, the audience is confronted by it. And we're still at a musical and we're having a great time.
Yeah.
But then when that act two hits, it's like gut punch. Like, it's like, whoa. And when I was speaking to the guy who plays Ernst, because we went and got a drink last night, and he
Mm,
was like, well, before, when we were doing the show, it felt like a warning. It felt like we were telling people, come on, don't let this happen. He's like, now it's happening. He's like, well, what is it all for now?
right.
It's like, but wait a minute. This show is actually about the time before Hitler comes into full power. And we're asking a question: what would you do? How are you going to survive it? Is what the new question is.
Yeah.
Because each of those characters are surviving it in their own ways, as we all are now. Like, some people are buying a boo, some people are getting married, some people are going deeper into their families, some people are protesting, some
Some
people are
people are
getting deeper,
leaving.
some people are leaving,
Yeah.
some people. So that is actually what the show is saying now, what it's always said.
Right.
What are you gonna do when the world goes to crap? Like, what are you doing? And how do we survive that as a people? Because I was like, Hitler didn't win. You know that, right? He didn't win. So it also shows you it's a call to action, that we have the power as the people to change the situation. But what are you doing? What are you going to
Yeah.
do about it? What are
Yeah.
you going to do? And there's no wrong answer. That's the crazy part. There is no, because people always like to judge, oh, you're not getting into politics or you're not doing. I was like, we're just doing what it takes for each individual person to survive. And some people can't even get to politics because they're like, I can't feed my family.
That's
Like,
right.
I
It can
can't.
be a luxury.
It's a
Yeah.
privilege to
Yeah.
be able
Yeah.
to have the time to deal with the world's problems when you can't even solve the problems in your own household. Like, that's what we're saying. That's what Fräulein Schneider says. What would you do? I have to take care of this hotel. How can I fight Hitler?
Right.
You know what I mean?
No,
And
it's not a rhetorical question. She's really asking.
no, she's really
Yeah.
asking it.
Yeah. Yeah. This is my, I want to ask you because it is such, My God, those songs. First of all, you get to sing,
Oh,
you get to sing these songs that like even if you never wanted to be a musical theater performer, you have dreamed of singing Sally's songs, right?
yes,
Um,
absolutely.
you know, I mean, so there is so much heaviness in the show, so much beauty and humanity in the show. You are asked, a lot is asked of you.
Mhm.
What is what is the most fun part? Like, what part do you really, you're like, oh, I get to do this tonight. And maybe it's different, but is there a part that always grounds you and you're like, oh, I'm doing it because I get to do this in the show?
You know what I absolutely love? I love the scene with the egg.
Can we
I
talk about that? Is
I
that,
love that
are
scene.
we seeing what you're doing? Is that for reals?
That's a real egg. I've been eating a real egg 8 times a week for about 8 months.
And tell me why you like it.
I love this scene because I like for drama to really hit, for you to make people cry, you have to fall in love with the person first.
Yeah.
Like you need to be rooting for Sally. So I
Yeah.
really dig into my musical comedy chops in those scenes before the downfall, because I feel like humor and sadness are so connected. Like one minute you're laughing, next minute you're crying.
Yeah.
But when you, as an audience member, are laughing with this person, you're laughing, laughing, you see all the joy, the light, and funness in this person. And then when you see it zapped out of them, it hits hard. So I
Yeah.
really play into her savviness, like the charisma and charm of her. That was always something that I didn't understand about other Sallys, where they make her so not likable. And I
Mm.
was like, she really needs to be likable, because that's how
The
she gets
most
away.
likable. Yes.
That's how she gets away with everything. That's how she can move into somebody's house
Yeah.
without asking them. That's how she can cheat on Max and he still allows her to work at the Kit Kat Club till it doesn't work anymore. Like
Yeah. Till he does it. Yeah.
till it doesn't. And then she comes up with a new tactic, and she's
Yeah.
always coming up with new tactics. So in that scene, I'm just literally on the fly. I have to make it feel like I'm coming up with new tactics
Yeah.
any way I can to stay in this room, because I actually need a place to live. Like I've
And this
actually
guy
been
seems
kicked
like
out.
he might be someone who could agree. He was agreeable. He's an
Yeah.
agreeable fella in that way.
And I've done this hundreds of times.
Yeah.
Like I
But
have.
Cliff doesn't know that.
Cliff doesn't know that. I've done, and I was like, let me try this. Maybe this work.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll try this, and maybe this work. Maybe I'll charm him. Maybe he likes sexy things. Maybe he likes funny people. Maybe he likes, and I feel like we do that as women all the time, trying
Totally.
to be whoever they want us to be in that
Yeah.
moment, but to get what we need to get. And
Yeah.
that was so I love that scene, and the audience is so right with me. And that egg is what I feel like really gets people to buy into my psychosis, because they're like, oh my gosh,
She's really doing it.
she's really committed.
Yeah.
And it also feels like I'm drinking the soul of Sal. Like when I drink that egg, I'm like, okay, she's fully integrated into me. Marisha's not here. Sally is here. And I just really enjoy getting to do that scene. Last night, I remember I did it, and the audience was literally on my breath. Like they were literally so with me. And me and my Cliff, we were just like in tandem, Calvin. So it was just, I love doing that scene. Like for a fun scene, that's like one of my favorite. Well, and then the song Perfectly Marvelous. It's just fun. That whole section is
So
fun.
great. It's
Yeah.
so great. It's so I don't know. It's really thrilling when you're in an audience and there's just something about a part and a person that are so perfectly matched and you just
Yeah.
like you can relax. It's all
That's
you're in
everyone
great
says
hands.
that about me. They're like,
Yeah.
anytime I come watch you, I can just relax because I know I'm gonna be taken care
Yeah.
of. And I
Yeah.
was
It's
like, that's such
brilliant.
a cool way to think about it, because I do want people to feel like we're in a dance. Like, okay, I'm chilling, I'm guiding you. Come on, we're gonna have a good time. You ain't gotta worry about me hitting the notes. We're just gonna
You're
enjoy.
like, I got you.
I got
Are there
you.
things, are you someone who has to, like, I have certain touchstones in my dressing room, or I have to have this, like, what are things that are important to you when you get to the theater each night or before you go on stage? Do you have certain things that you are pretty consistent with, or traditions?
I do have I have a voice teacher in London, and he gave me a warm up that I have used for about 8 years.
Okay.
And that warm up, I do it every day, every time I sing. And if I can do that warm up, then I know my voice is fine. And if there's parts of that warm up that's like shaky, then I know, okay, I'm gonna have to be a little less on this tonight, or I need to rest
You know how to
more.
finesse it based
Yeah, like,
on,
but
yeah,
because I have this constant that I know that I can hit, and
yeah,
it's from Dreamgirls. I was like, if I can sing Dreamgirls, I can sing anything.
right.
So yeah, I use that. So I do that warm up. I have to put my makeup on. So the makeup plot for this is very intense for the first
Yeah,
scene. So that's kind of like my war paint time. And then
yeah,
I do my warm up, and I listen to music. I like listening to audiobooks as well. So I kind of like being taken out of my world a little bit,
yeah. Enter
centering myself into
another
another
story.
world.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then I go visit people. So I do like to go say hello to everybody. Just because before you see them on stage, it's kind of nice to say, hey, how are you? Like the person.
yeah.
And I go see Billy, and we listen to gospel music in his dressing room.
Oh, I love that.
And yeah,
There's things together
I'm
that
not a
you
big
really
like,
do.
yeah, like, well, it's just always nice to connect. But I'm not a big like actory actor. Do you know, like some people are like, I need my quiet and I need
Yes, I'm in character now.
I'm in character and blah,
Yeah,
blah. I'm more of the from the Laurence Olivier school where he's just like, just act. It's
just act,
fine.
my darling.
Just
Um,
act, my darling. Yeah.
Before I let you go, because I've been so greedy and kept you
No,
for
you're fine.
longer than originally promised, um,
No.
uh, can you share a little known fact about yourself?
Ooh, this is hard.
You've been very generous already. One more.
A little known fact. A little known fact about me is I went on a weight loss journey, and I lost 80 pounds in about 4 years ago, and it changed my whole life. That was
Wow.
a little known fact about me. So I chronicalized it from the pandemic till now. And I started heavy lifting. So, like, I lift super, super heavy
Oh, wow.
deadlifts, like hip thrusts of like 350 pounds, like crazy,
Oh
like
my God.
super heavy lifting. And it changed my life. And that's why everyone's like, how are you always in the show? How can you do 8 shows a week? I was like, because I can lift 350 pounds.
You can lift a car. Actually, you could lift a truck.
I
Um,
can lift a truck with my
okay, well,
hips.
I want to visit you in the gym. I want to see this magnificence. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. When are you in the show until in New York?
October 19th, and then my album's out where I chronicleize my whole journey that you heard musically. So
Amazing.
you
Okay,
get to hear all the songs that you know me from all the shows: Guys and Dolls, Cabaret, Waitress. There's a Whitney medley, there's a Etta James medley. I do some Tina on there, but then I also tell you my full story through the music. So it's 2 disc, and it's great. So you can listen to maybe this time whenever you like, and Cabaret whenever you like.
incredible. Live in London, right?
Live in London.
Oh, thank you. This was incredible. How lucky am I that I
Oh, this is
magical
fantastic.
time with you today. I wish you the most wonderful show tonight. I wish you
Thank
the
you.
most wonderful rest of the run. And we cannot wait to see what you do next. So here's to
Thank
it
you.
all.
Here's to the next one.
Bye, honey. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.